Earlier I made some videos about choosing the right sitski for beginners and for people with high level injury like myself, and the adaptation that I made to my sitskis to make them work for me. And now I'm going to talk about the ski itself. Before my injury I could just rent any ski or borrow a snowboard from a friend and it would work out okay. I would be able to ride it anyway. But after my injury I discovered that there is so big difference in the different skis that I'm not able to ride at all if the ski is not right. And I bought some skis that now can't use and been trying out so many different skis. And the best way I've figured out is to ask the rentals if you just can borrow some ski from them to try out, or if they're having some pairs that are broken, so you can just get a ski that is okay out of that pair. And I've also been trying different skis at Beitostøl Helsesenter, which is a unique possibility. That is a place where people with disabilities can try out different activities and equipment, and there was the place that I learned out how to ski and to set up my equipment and to see what skis I was looking for. And I ended up with this very cheap ski. It's an old ski, 16-year-old Elan ski, and it's really light, and it's having a radius of 14.4, and the length is 160 centimeter, and that's the length I'm looking for in all skis that I'm trying now. Unfortunately this was my best ski, but I broke it last year. That's the bad thing about using a soft beginner ski. When I had a binding that has a din scale to 20, that's these bindings, I'm going to swap them over now. So with that high pressure when I landed, it actually bended the ski and I wasn't able to straighten it up again. So now I'm looking for the same ski, and that's not very easy when the ski is that old, but I managed to get a used pair in the same series. It's 8 centimeter longer and it has a radius of 16.1 meter, and I hope that pair can do the same trick as these old skis. But the most important thing when you're choosing skis is that the binding not releases. I would rather destroy a ski than experience that the ski is releasing when I'm going down the slopes and hurt myself. So there is very important that the din scale is high enough, like this ski. I now only use about din scale at 20, because this other ski has din scale to 14, and I released that in a bump when I was riding. So now I also get some other skis from Milan, new skis, and that binding only have the din scale to 10. So now I'm going to show how to lock these bindings instead of using much money on new bindings. And all those skis are also 160 centimeter long, and I'm looking very forward to be testing those out. Now I'm using Elan skis because I just figured out, maybe it's psychological, but that they were much better than my Rossignol ski and my Dyna Star ski. I've been using this one lately when I was looking for new skis. That is also a stiffer ski, and I obviously have more trouble in skidding and stopping with this ski, but it's very stable at high speeds, and it has a radius of 17 centimeter. and it's a 158 centimeter long ski. But my recommendation is to try to use softer skis for beginners and people with high level injuries like myself, because I can't use any muscles below my chest. So when I can't use my hips, it would be much harder to control the ski and to do skidding without my upper body would just bend over. So now I'm going to show how I'm going to block these bindings the easy way. A thing I forgot to mention is why I use these shorter skis with a smaller radius, and that is because they help me keep down the speed when I'm not that comfortable yet. And by having a smaller radius, the ski is pretty much doing the sharp turns for me, so I don't have to do that much to make sharp turns. I just lean over, and that is why I use these slalom skis. And another good tip is that there is possible to just unsharpen the edges to get more control of the ski. And like myself, I'm stronger on one side than the other because of my injury. And then I can unsharpen one of the sides of the ski, and that will help compensate for that problem, so I will get more equal turns. So here are two Elan front bindings, and what I want to prevent here is that these two flip open like this. And I know that some people mount them on a metal plate where they add a 90-degree angle on each side to get a wall up on each side here. My fingers don't work that great. So then these two walls will prevent these two to open. And that's a very clever way to do this. But on this Elan binding here, that is going to slide on a sliding system, then that plate can't be added. So I know some people drill a hole through one or both of these two sides and add a screw through these two, and then they won't open. But I don't think that's a very nice add. So when these two are unmounted, I see that there is a metal pin down there. I don't know if you actually can see it, but by making a metal piece like this foam thing that was inside here, which looks about that, I can prevent that pin from going up by just adding that. I don't know if I can show you that flip. I don't have that good grip, so come on. Easier said than done. Can just get this screwdriver to stay inside this one. Come on. Yeah. Hope I can show you them now. You see that pin is coming out now, hopefully. So that is what I want to prevent, and then this binding is locked. And then it's also very important to hide this scale by spray painting or something, so no one else is using this binding, because this won't ever release anyway, if it's on the softest area or not. So I don't want people to hurt their feet. And on these wear bindings, I'm going to drill a hole through both sides here and add a bolt, so this can't go down like this. And of course I'm going to swap this out later by using these quick pin bolts. So now these two rear bindings are locked by putting in a bolt through these holes I just made. So then it's impossible to flip this down. I could obviously just put a shim inside here behind the spring and make this even stiffer, but then it wouldn't be that easy for me to open and lock these myself. And I could also just replace the spring by using a block, but then I can't get these skis off the sitski. So I think this is a very good solution, because now it's very easy to get the ski off the sitski itself, and by adding this bolt, then it's totally locked. So now I just made this bracket fast in the milling machine for the front bindings that belongs to the old Elan skis that I bought. And this binding is not tightened up yet, so that still opens easily. And the tap inside here will now be pressing against this piece right here. So if my measurements are right, then this should be a really press fit. Just see that I put it in the right direction. Of course that's supposed to stay this way. It's almost in, and this piece will never be able to fall out when the binding is mounted anyway. And I guess this binding is locked now, so I think that's going to be working really great. So now I just disassembled this new front binding. My plan was to use a little metal plate here on top to prevent this pin from sliding up, because I can't have anything underneath, because this is going to slide on this sliding system. And I was planning to just drill a hole on each side of that one and make M3 or M4 threads to use screws with a lowered head. But once I disassemble this binding, it seems to be just as easy or easier to just replace this spring by a piece of metal or plastic or whatever I got to lock this sliding function. So that's what I'm going to do with this binding. So now I just made this one that will replace this spring and block the binding, and inside I want to keep this small spring. So now it's just to mount it back, but I just have to do one more thing before I mount this back together, because I have this things for small details. So I'm going to hide this din scale. And then I just thought, what would be a better way than using an Elan sticker on a Elan binding. And then it's finished, and the sticker is stick to the original marking plate. And then it's just to mount this back together. See if we can make that look good. That looks great, I think. And then we're going to mount these things back together. And it's not that complicated, actually. It's this small spring going back to this bracket with a marking for the din scale, which is not in use anymore. Maybe I should remember to use this new blocking bracket. And that's how it looks now. And that's supposed to be the other way, of course. Upside down. Like that. Oh, so much. Okay, so now that is going to block this binding from opening. And then just put these back together. Would be great to have grip sometimes, like that. So now there is no spring function anymore. Now it's totally blocked, and that's the proper way to do this, I think. And then it's just to mount these things back together, 2 screws at the top and 2 at the bottom. So now both these skis have locked bindings and can be used for sit skiing, even though the din scale of the bindings are just going to 10. And like I told earlier in this video, I'm going to swap out the binding on one of these skis. And the reason for why I blocked this binding now is because then I can try out the ski with the old binding to see where to place the new binding. Because bindings like this can't be moved forward or backward later unless you drill new holes. And I obviously don't want to drill more holes than I have to. So I haven't seen any other videos like this before, so I hope it can be helpful for others to see the way I do these things.